I'm about to do a One Piece arc tier list and give my own personal ranking of every arc within the story. I just want to give a quick shout out to GG of the Heavens for making this template, so go give him a follow. At the same time, real quick for me, if you're enjoying this video so far, make sure you press that like button, make sure that you're subscribed, because these things really help me as a small YouTuber. Now let's get it started. So starting off, we have post-war arc. I'm gonna be honest, the post-war arc was just like, I'll put it in alright. It was not great. Like, it was mostly flashbacks, and the flashbacks themselves were like okay. I'm not gonna like say they were anything like outrageously amazing, godly, but at the same time they weren't like bad or anything, so I guess it'll just go in the alright section. Next up, we got Marineford. Okay, Marineford, no discussion needed. Next up, Egghead Island. I'm gonna put Egghead Island in great because, let's be honest, Egghead so far has been pleasing most fans, and it has the potential to even reach the legendary tier, but I will put it in great for now just to be safe. We got a lot of amazing things going on. We got all these marines pulling up. We got the 5 elders, Imu, Shanks and Elbaf, the Blackbeard pirates with Garb, bunch of outside world things going on. Not to mention Luffy versus Lucci. So next up, we got Impel Down. I'm gonna be honest, I'm either gonna put Impel Down in the good tier or the great tier, but I'll just leave it at good for now. The thing about Impel Down is that we got to see so many characters from the past, like Buggy, Crocodile. We get to meet Jinbei, Ivankov. We get to learn more about the revolutionaries. We see the awakened Zoans for the first time. Honestly, it was a pretty great arc overall. It was high stakes. You get to see a prison break. You know, prison break stories are always fun. They're always engaging. They're never really too boring. I will say, like, in the middle of section of Impel Down, it slowed down a little bit, but it picked right back up afterwards. That's why I will leave it in good, but not great. After that, we got Amazon Lily. Amazon Lily, I'm gonna be honest, I'll either put it in alright or trash. The thing about Amazon Lily is that we just see Luffy gets dropped in Amazon Lily. He doesn't know what's going on. Most of the arc is just running around. We find out he has Conqueror's Haki. We learn a little bit about Boa Hancock's backstory. We get some hints and drops about the Celestial Dragons as well as Fisher Tiger. Then Luffy finds out about Ace's execution, and that's the arc. But for some reason, they felt the need to stretch it out. It was a fun arc, but I felt like it came at the wrong time, if anything. Next up, we got Sabaody Archipelago. Straight to legendary tier. No arguments. Sabaody was great, high stakes, so much world building. It ends in a massive defeat, something we really needed at the time, and to be honest, we kind of do right now in the story, but that's neither here or there. We get to meet so many characters. So many impactful characters were introduced in Sabaody. Silver's Rayleigh, Trafalgar Law, the Celestial Dragons, Kizaru, legendary. Next up, we got Thriller Bark. I'm honestly just gonna drop this in either alright or trash. Like, I'll put it in alright on a good day just because of the way it ends, but I don't think that a good ending is gonna justify a trash storyline. It's not that the story is trash, but it's just a drag. It's such a drag. Like, it's not enjoyable to watch it. Like, yeah, there's funny moments here and there, but other than the funny moments and the team combos, it's just not enjoyable. The characters are not compelling. We got what? Who? Absalom? Gecko Moria? Like, who cares? Like, honestly, I'm gonna be honest, I'll just drop this in trash. The ending is good. The ending is alright, but it's not good enough to where it would put it in the alright section. The arc overall as a whole is kind of trash. After that, we got Post Enies Lobby. I'm gonna put this in legendary. I'm sorry. It's just like so much world building was dropped. So much lore was dropped. We learned about the 4 emperors. We learned about Vegapunk. We learned about Dragon being Luffy's dad. I'm gonna put this up there with Enies Lobby, of course, because I count these two as one arc, really. Enies Lobby and Post Enies Lobby. Same thing with Water 7. Honestly, like, all 3 of those are one arc in my opinion, because if we call Wano and Onigashima just Wano, then why are we calling Water 7 and Enies Lobby 2 separate arcs? It's really the same storyline, just in 2 parts. So those 3 right here, Enies Lobby, same thing. It's really when the crew first glows up and stands up against the world government as a team. They establish themselves. This is when the crew really establishes themselves. Water 7 is when the crew sort of gets challenged and gets broken up from the inside out. Robin going off on her own, Usopp leaving the crew, Luffy's role as a captain being challenged, where he really has to learn how to be a captain. It's just great stuff, really. Great character development for everybody involved. Long Ring, Long Land. So I have nothing personal against Long Ring, Long Land, but I don't feel like it's a good enough arc to where, like, it's alright. I don't want to put it in trash, but it's really nothing personal. It's just like, it's a slow arc. It's okay. At most I'll put it on alright, but I feel like my heart tells me just put it down there. Like, it's just not an alright arc. It's kind of slow. It drags out, especially with Foxy's devil fruit that slows down everything. It makes the arc even slower. Yeah, there was some great crew moments in this arc. It was enjoyable in terms of like comedy and things along those lines, but it's kind of a trash arc. I don't want to call it trash. I feel like this tier right here should be renamed to something like mid, even though I don't like the word mid. I don't like saying the word mid, but I feel like that's what really best describes these arcs right here. So I'll just leave this like that. Skypiea. I put Skypiea down there. I did not enjoy Skypiea. Skypiea was slow, dog. We built this momentum, like just entering the Grand Line, going into Alabasta. We're over here like taking down Warlords. We're learning crazy things about the world, ancient weapons, poneglyphs, and then we slow down only to just go to Skypiea on like this brand new island and civilization that we don't care about, that is completely disconnected from the rest of the world. It's just slow. The villains are not compelling. Enel's priests, Enel himself, he's sort of compelling-ish, but not compelling enough to where like he would carry an arc by himself, I feel. Like, who are some characters that we care about in Skypiea? Like Honus, what's the other dude's name? Wiper. Honus, Wiper, like okay, like like they're okay characters, but nobody puts them in their like top 10s or top 5s or even top 30s, let's be honest. It's just a slow arc. I was uninterested, completely disconnected from the world. If anything, I feel like the only redeemable thing in Skypiea is Enel has a cool design, and the Nolan flashback. The Nolan and Kagura flashback, that was actually good, but like I said, the arc really just fits under mid. Like, I can't put it any higher than that. Like, the arc as a whole was not alright. Like, it was aight, but not like alright. Even though Jaya was connected to Skypiea, I actually enjoyed it so much that I would put it in the legendary tier. Do not ask me why, but something about Jaya just feels like it just feels like such a One Piece arc. I don't know how to explain it. The way Blackbeard was introduced, Luffy's values being challenged, the values that he inherited from Shanks in that bar, confrontation with Bellamy, even Cricket. Like, Cricket is such an insignificant character, but like I genuinely liked his backstory. Like, his backstory was, you know, like just him wanting to prove himself for himself. Like, he's not doing it for other people. Like, he just really wanted to like clear his ancestor's name. Something about it. And then the way they climb up Skypiea, that's still within the Jaya arc. That was a legendary moment for the Straw Hats, the way they climbed up to Skypiea. Now this one's gonna be controversial, but Wano is in the mid tier. Yes, that's right. I put Wano in mid tier because where do I even begin? Like, the pacing, it did not need to be as long as it was. A lot of plot lines were dumb and didn't go anywhere. Like, for example, Yamato. Like, where did the Yamato plotline go? Where did most of the Nine Scabbards plotlines go? The Tobi Roppo, like what happened to the Tobi Roppo? Nothing happened with that. Kaido and Big Mom's conclusion was kind of like just left like unsatisfactory. Like, they just end up in a volcano, but we don't know anything about that. Maybe it's left for the final war, but still, you know what I mean? Like, it still leaves a bad taste in my mouth. The Omiwa Banshu, like those ninjas that were introduced, like who are they and what happened to them? You know, like, there's so many like unnecessary characters, so many unnecessary plot lines. Usopp and Nami did not get much to do. Zoro's encounter with the Grim Reaper was left completely unaddressed. What was that? What happened with that? Like, are we just gonna ignore that happened? The way Big Mom lost her kid-in-law, I felt was sort of unacceptable, with her not really using Conqueror's Haki to defend herself. Anyways, this is turning into a Wano video, and that is not my intention. Next up, we got Alabasta, and Alabasta is one of the greats. It was the template for the big arcs that came after it, like Dressrosa, for example, or Fishman Island. Great villain, great storyline. It dragged out a little bit, but it was not how bad Skypiea was or Thriller Bark was, at least in my personal opinion. I know some others might disagree with that, and that's completely okay. Great world building. We were introduced to the poneglyphs, the ancient weapons, the Reverie. All the Straw Hats get satisfactory fights, so definitely one of the greats. Next up is Drum Kingdom. I'll put this in good, to be honest, because I feel like Drum Kingdom definitely has the potential to be one of the greats, if not even legend. Okay, no, one of the greats. But the thing that's preventing Drum Kingdom from reaching that great status was Wapol. Wapol is a hilarious character. He's a funny character. But the thing about Wapol is just not threatening enough. He's not threatening enough of a villain. The thing that does bring Drum Kingdom all the way up to the good tier, however, is the Chopper flashback. The Chopper flashback is one of the best flashbacks in the whole series, but I would say it's probably still behind the Robin, Sanji, and Law flashbacks. Parts of it are kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know, I just like seeing Chopper get hurt. Something about it is hilarious, I find. That's neither here or there. Drum Kingdom goes under good. Now, Little Garden. Sorry that I have to do this, but I'm gonna put Little Garden under mid because I feel like most people that look back fondly to Little Garden are just people with nostalgia goggles on. The thing about Lil Garden is that, yeah, it sets up great things such as Elbaf and Usopp's dream, but it's just, most of the arc is just slow, running away from Mr. 3, and then you get the giants just laughing, or however they laugh. They got like these distinct laughs, and most of the arc is just spent with them fighting and laughing and running away from Baroque works, and it's just sort of boring. Like, okay, we get it, you know what I mean? Like, can we like get on with the story? But it's like, it dragged on for a bit too long. That's why I'm gonna put it in mid. I know this is gonna be a weird one for most people, but Whiskey Peak actually is one of the greats also, because Whiskey Peak is just completely unpredictable. Like, you just get to this island, you're being fed and welcomed, and these people are taking good care of you, you know? And then you just they're like, all right, cool, these people are wonderful. And then all of a sudden you find out that there's this crime syndicate that's after you. They're trying to recruit your swordsman, and now your swordsman is killing all of them. And you're just there like, what's going on? And then you find out that like one of the agents is actually a princess of this kingdom. And then like, it's just plot twists left and right. The guy that was with the princess that was undercover within the crime syndicate apparently gets blown up, only to later find out that he's actually still alive. We get introduced to Robin, Vivi, who are super major characters in the series as a whole. It's just a funny arc that did not overstay its welcome. It's just a funny arc with a lot of twists and turns that did not overstay its welcome and introduced some of the most major characters in the whole series. Next up, we got Reverse Mountain. I'll put this in alright. I actually genuinely like Reverse Mountain, but it's mostly for the moments in which they're climbing up the mountain. But once they like get up there and then they're climbing back down, they're like, you know, sliding down, they get to Laboon, and like that part is like, alright, cool, you know, but then it starts to slow down and I sort of lose interest because, yeah, you know, we meet Laboon, that's great and everything, we meet Crocus, but at that point, like, I'm really reading or watching this arc just for the moments in which they're climbing up Reverse Mountain and entering the Grand Line. Once we get to the Laboon stuff, I start losing interest, and like, I'll just put this under alright. Now, Logtown, I want to put it here so bad, I really do, but I'll just put Lockdown under great because I don't want to put too many arcs up here. The thing about Lockdown is that you can just feel the spirit of Roger while you're reading the story. Roger is everywhere. You can see it in the bars, you can see it in the execution stand, in the way Smoker was influenced, you know, Smoker's little flashback that he has. Even when we get to see Zoro pick out a new sword, it's just interesting, you know, you get to learn about the swords, the mythology. Even though I'm not like that into like the Zoro or swordsmanship stuff, it's still interesting to like hear it and learn about it, you know what I mean? Smoker is an interesting character, Tashigi's an interesting character, we get to see the return of Buggy, Alvida of all people. Hell, Dragon gets introduced. It's just a great arc overall. People really overlook Lockdown. Now, Arlong Park, do not at me. Don't even, nah, I'm not debating this. Arlong Park is the #1 arc in all of One Piece. Probably. That was a lie. I am willing to debate this. It is definitely up there somewhere. It's just that like I really have a huge bias for Arlong Park and Arlong, the character, the fishman himself. Arlong Park is the first arc of its kind. It is the arc that got me hooked onto One Piece. It is the arc that gets most people hooked onto One Piece, especially with the Nami flashback, Arlong, with the Arlong Pirates versus the Straw Hats. It's just such a great arc. It really is. And I really have to say, if it wasn't for Arlong Park, there's a good chance I may not have gotten into One Piece personally. And I could say the same for a few people that I know. At least it would have taken much longer for me to get into One Piece. Next up, we got Baratie. I'll put it in good because the only things I care about in Baratie are the Mihawk sections and Sanji's flashbacks, which is a significant chunk of the arc. But I don't care about Don Krieg. I felt like he's one of the lamest villains in all of One Piece. So I'll just leave it in good. I might even drop it down to alright. I'm not too sure. But since I put Drum Kingdom up here and I didn't care about Wapol, I guess I'll put this here. I don't know. I might have to rework this. I'll leave this here for now. You know, hopefully you guys don't mind. Sierra Village, nope, I'm good, I don't care. We got introduced to Usopp, but the arc was slow. I don't care about the Black Cat Pirates, or what's his name? Clawhador Kuro, or whatever his name is. The guy with the you know, Orange Town, same thing. We got introduced to Buggy, legendary character, but unfortunately, he just couldn't carry the arc. I'm gonna leave this here. Reverie was a great arc. I know it's kind of like, it's not exactly an arc in the traditional sense, but Reverie gave us so much world building, just so much delicious world building, and I live for that, you know. Romance Dawn, I guess that's Luffy's flashback with Shanks, and then the Alvida stuff as well as the Zoro stuff. I'll put this in good, really, you know. It was good, but it wasn't the greatest thing ever. Whole Cake Island, a really underrated arc. Like, Whole Cake Island is definitely up there. I just felt like the Straw Hats were always being challenged at every point of the arc. They always had to climb up. And then the Sanji stuff, the Sanji flashback, it was just so much tension, so much struggle, so much character development. I really like Whole Cake Island. And the Katakuri stuff, I don't need to say much about that. Zou, I'll put in alright. I might even drop it down to mid. The only reason why Zou is up and alright is due to the world building stuff that they gave us. If it wasn't for the world building stuff, Zou would have been one of, if not the worst arc in One Piece, but I'll leave it in alright. There's not a single thing in Zou that I cared about other than the Poneglyph stuff. Dressrosa, I'll put Dressrosa in good. It had some pretty good flashbacks. It had some pretty good character development. And it also had some good fights. I would say quite a few fights that were pretty good in Dressrosa. Like namely the Senor Pink and Frankie fight, Gear 4 Luffy versus Doflamingo, even the Luffy and Law versus Dofi and Snot guy. What's his name again? Nah. But it just dragged on for too long. It really dragged on for too long. Like the birdcage, just the birdcage alone, I do not need to say much. Birdcage. That's the only reason why it's not any higher. Punk Hazard, nope. Like it was great that we got introduced to Caesar Clown, but it was too slow. I know there was cool fights like the Virgo and Law fight, the smoker stuff, but nah, I wasn't interested. I almost fell asleep watching it. I didn't care. And I know you could probably blame the anime for that, but nope. You could call me biased. Fishman Island. So Fishman Island, I actually really like Fishman Island. Most of it is just due to the backstory, the flashbacks that we get to see with Queen Otohime and, you know, just like all the racism stuff. Like it was really good. Like it really felt heartfelt. However, unfortunately, the fights were not that good. Most of it dragged on. It was kind of slow. Like I felt like a lot of the characters were just standing around for most of the arc. There wasn't too much going on. We get introduced to Big Mom, like cool, but not enough to put Fishman Island any higher. It's definitely not one of the greats. Like Hody Jones, like who cares about Hody Jones? The worst villain in all of One Piece. Finally, we got Return to Sabaody, which I will leave in alright. I would have put it in mid, but the only reason why I'm putting it in alright is because I was engaged enough to where I wasn't bored out of my mind. Return to Sabaody, the reason why I was engaged to some extent is because obviously it was the time skip, you know, like we had some excitement going into it. We were like, we want to see like everything that changed. So there was always like something new here and there, you know, like, oh, look at this. Oh, this changed after 2 years. It wasn't completely boring, but at the same time, like it was just okay. It was aight. And thankfully it didn't overstay its welcome either. And this is my tier list. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you press that like button. Make sure that you're subscribed because these things really help me as a small YouTuber. Besides that, the comment question of the day is, what is your favorite story arc in One Piece? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe, and have a good one.